My guest today is Ann Drogyne. Worked for the police for a few years. Intersex person, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about yourself, please, Ann.
Well, I'm from Liverpool, proper born and bred Scouser.
With your Spanish accent, I would have guessed that.
Oh yeah, with my Spanish accent. Family sort of went a different route with me. I didn't go through the usual Liverpool route. I went into ballet as a very, very young age, as a toddler. And that was me life planned out. So worked in the theatre for many years, did ballet until I was 24, retired from ballet, which you think is young, but 24 actually isn't young in ballet, considering that not many people get past the 30s in it.
Yeah.
So worked in the theatre on and off, worked in films, not acting, but worked behind the scenes in films.
Any in particular? Any that we'll know, like? Any films that we know of?
Been a few. I worked with Peter Greenaway.
Oh yeah, Peter.
You don't know who he is, do you?
Peter Greenaway. You know what? I do know who he is, but I just can't picture him.
Think. Yeah, but worked just behind the scenes, nothing major, because I never wanted to be an actor.
No.
Never wanted to go into acting, even though people said to do it. It just wasn't my scene, because I've been brought up in dancing, so I used to feel when you acted, I was overexpressing it, and the arms would be overexpressed.
Yeah.
So then I thought, no, I want to go into the real world.
Yeah.
I want to see what real people do for once, not Fantasyland. And I went to work initially for the Inland Revenue, which was I got the shock of my life, because I thought, wait a minute, real people are living in a fantasy more than we are in the theatre world. It was like they're more deluded and more living in a fantasy world than theatre people are. So I moved from there into the probation service with drug users on treatment and testing orders, which was fascinating work.
DTTOs,
absolutely fascinating work that was.
Did you enjoy that? Yeah.
It wasn't so much that I enjoyed it. I got a look at life that was a total mystery to me.
Yeah.
And I always thought, like most people who hadn't been, because but for the grace of God, I, of course, was shielded by what I was doing from anything like that. And I suddenly met these amazing people, met some horrible drug users, but met some amazing people, and I thought, my God, if they weren't on those drugs and being a slave to them, they would be absolutely amazing in the theatre.
Yeah.
They'd be top-rate stars, absolutely top-rate stars. And also, when I'd see someone coming off it, and that was the first time I saw the pain and the determination. So
just like withdrawing from heroin. Yeah.
Horrible, absolutely horrible to witness, and the determination to get over it. And also, I thought, like most people, the poor kids, they must be living in squalor and all this. The children, vast majority, the children were prim, proper, kept well, fed well, nothing wrong. So it spelled the myths I had, drug users. And then things started going, not wrong for me, but started going wrong for the organisation, and people were leaving right, left and centre. And I always got told, when the rats are jumping ship, go with them, don't be around, because you're going to sink with the ship. So I thought, right, I'm getting out, and applied for 2 jobs. One was the Merseyside Police. The other one, I can't even remember what that was. But I got an interview for the Merseyside Police. Yeah. And I'm like, I haven't got a chance, because I'd never known anything about the police. Didn't know the first thing, never had any encounters with police officers, nothing. Yeah. And next thing, went for the interview. And to my amazement, I got it. Got in there.
Merseyside plot, eh?
I tell you something now about that. I was absolutely rubbish in that interview. And I was sitting there and I thought, I've got the chance. And one of the women at the probation service, she was a nurse, a lesbian.
Yeah.
Oh, she was funny. And she said to me, she said, you'll get that. I said, oh, you're so sure I'll get it? She said, they're crying out for your sort. She said, you tick boxes, mate. She said, that's what they're looking for. And God forgive me for saying this. This isn't trendy to say now. She said, go on. She said, blacken yourself up, go in there. And she said, stop going, ooh, and all this. And she said, you're certainly going to get it. And funny enough, when I went into it, the fella that was interviewing me was a chief inspector. And he must have regretted this, because a few years later...
What, regretting hiring you?
Hiring you, because me and him went head to head.
Yeah.
Style. bad start when head shed. It was horrific. But he kept on going, what would you find would be insulting if it was said to you? And I was like, I said, I've got thick skin. I said, I grew up in an industry, I said, where you were told all the time your faults and how you had to improve yourself. So I said, well, no, but what would someone say to you though? What he wanted me to do, and I thought, you want me to say I'm gay? And I thought, I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
So I knew that's what they were after. So basically, I got the job because they thought, because at the time I used to say I was gay, I didn't say.
What year was this, by the way? Because like that probably adds
that
up.
would have been 2004.
Okay, yeah.
Either 2003. I know it was just going over into the new year.
It was 16 years ago at least,
Yeah.
now, isn't it? Yeah.
So I thought I haven't got a chance, and they said, yeah, you've got it. But funny enough, when I got into the training used to be Mather Avenue there. I zoomed through it.
Yeah.
It was like a sponge. I got everything right. Came double top. So I was up for the job, even though I got it for the wrong reasons. I knew why I got it. And got put to Admiral Street Police Station, infamous station, which was great. But then, everything started going a bit
sits up.
a bit strange. In other words, I started seeing the reality of what it was like. They were behaving themselves at first.
But what probation, before we go into that, Dory, what probation service did you work for? In what area?
I was in Liverpool.
Oh yeah.
It was when it was. Where did it used to be?
Wasn't the one on Crown Street, was it?
No.
Yeah, I remember that one. Like I used to go there. That's why I'm
curious. Now that you've said that, I can't. It was downtown. Yeah, it was Crown Street. You used to go in and you had to go a flight of steps.
Was it by the Women's Hospital?
I can't remember this. The old White Star building.
Oh yeah.
You know the one with the stripy one.
Yeah.
Where the White Star was, the Titanic thing. It was in there.
Yeah, I wasn't in
on
that
the
one.
Docks, right on the docks.
There's a few, you know, the few and far between probation services.
There's loads of them, but that closed down. But it was great that. When I think I should have stayed there. Yeah. Instead of where I did go to.
So you worked on Admiral Street, you didn't enjoy working with the police?
No, I enjoyed, Admiral Street was great for the first 18 months, but then it started getting, remarks were being said to me all the time. And I say I was brought up in a different culture and everything from what most of them were. And one of them, and you'll always get this in police forces, you have an alpha male. You have different blocks, which you have A block, C block, and D block, which are different police sections. And it was rapid response there. They were the ones in the cars that respond to the most serious crimes. They weren't neighbourhood. So, of course, you have to have strong people doing that, and you have to attract macho men as well. And I've always said that you can't have a police force without macho men. You've got to have them there. But one of them, it was like the alpha male of the block. He was funny at times, but then he started turning into a right arsehole and saying things that I found really offensive. And I'd be like in work, and of course, because he was doing it, the alpha male was doing it, the little monkeys in the troop had to start doing the same to impress him. So I'm a very tough character. I am. I can stand my own ground and put up with a lot. So I did. I put up with it. And so then I started saying, pack it in. I said, I'm coming into work. I said, I don't want to be slagged off or told that I'm this or the duck egg, quag, queer and all this. I said, just dressed up as some kind of banter. I said, I've never been so aware that I'm different. I said, since I've been in here. And it just went nasty. It went really, really nasty then.
And this was in the police, like,
It was in the police.
So you felt like you were being separated from, like, an isolated...
It was that no bullying under the guise of banter. They use this, you'll hear police saying, banter. What they mean is bullying. Bullying, that's what they mean. And I was getting to the point where I was coming into work and I couldn't eat, couldn't do it. And I was thinking, what the hell else is going to be said about me? And rumours were flying around about me. That's another thing they do. If they don't know something about you,
they'll invent it.
Make it up. And you get destroyed by these rumours. So I made the mistake. I lost my temper, went on to parade. And so I said to them, all in front of the inspection, everyone, I said, keep out of my office, because you used to congregate in my office all the time. I said, no, you can't use my computer. No, you can't use my phone. I said, keep the hell away from me. Because I said, I'm fed up and I want away from here. Worst thing I could have done.
Yeah.
Worst thing. That was it. I was to be put in my place. So, cut a very, very long story short, I was on nights and I was just sitting there, nothing bothered me. This alpha male one came in. Now, we were supposed to be going into business together. Now, this shows, remember that, going into business, for what he said next. And something happened. Next thing, I'm getting called all the C's, the T's. He was raging at me, this, that. So I said, who the hell do you think you're talking to? I said, I'm not a little boy. I said, who are you going on at? So he carried on. So I said, right, I've had enough.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going. But you don't walk off duty.
Yeah.
And I went to my inspector and said, shove your job up your ass. I said, I'm out of here. I said, I've asked to be moved. I said, you haven't listened, so I'm out. Then it started.
Yeah.
It started a bad start. Two inspectors, an chief inspector, the one I told you about, that took me on, called down at my house, and I thought, you're not interviewing me on my own. So I said to my neighbour, can I come into yours? So she said, yes. She said, get in, man. She said, and I'll sit on the stairs listening to everything that's being said. Everyone fine, great. Oh, we'll move you. Don't worry, we'll move you to another block. You're okay, we'll sort her out. I didn't even complain. I said, don't want to put a complaint in. Then the next thing is, I get dragged in. You're being suspended. I said, what for? Sexual assault with police officers. Well, what? Yeah. I said, I've been sexually assaulted. So I said the name straight away. And so he said, we have witnesses. I said, don't care what witnesses you've got. I said, are you kidding me? I said, if you, and honest to God, I couldn't help saying it. I said, if you've seen the state of the two of them, I said, you tell me that I'm desperate enough, I said, to try to cop off. I said, they can't even cop off with the easiest bit of bleeding tramp in the force. I said, those two, I said, there's nothing about them. I said, but you think that I would? Anyway, it went on, I was suspended. There was a big investigation. The public paid for me to sit on my backside for a year. The CPS turned around and said, there's no evidence whatsoever this has happened. Actually, the evidence was proven that it never happened. Blah, 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 blah. I get back to it and think, there we are. I've been moved to Speak police station. I thought everything would be fine now. Oh no, I was to go to a disciplinary. I said, but it's been proven they were lying. When I think of it, I could have sued the backside of those police officers. So the present chief constable, Andy Cook, Mr. Rainbow, he loves diversity, he loves LGBTQ people and all this that he's going on about now. He was the one that had the thing about me, the disciplinary. And he even says in it, and this is so damning for him, that it's obvious that the officers were acting in an unacceptable way. In other words, they were acting in a very homophobic, bullying way. That's what they were doing. Nothing happened to them. I got hammered with a final warning. So I said, wait a minute, I'm the victim and I get punished here. But that's what I found. So I gave him a mouthful. An absolute mouthful. Told him that what I thought of him, and that he was a disgrace to the police force. He was disgusting and all this. Well, of course, he's protecting the image of the force. They will never admit the homophobic. They will never admit the racist. They won't admit sexism, anything. So I could go on about this. It got worse and worse and worse. But it put me in a position in a way that police officers were some were very, very sympathetic.
Yeah.
And thought, I'm a fighter, because I fought back. I really did fight back. I thought, I'm not taking this lying down. And I gave them a full throttle back. So they started telling me things, saying, well, do you want to know what goes on in police forces? And then I started learning about cover-ups. And I saw evidence of one myself. And I reported the Home Office and to what was then the Independent Police Complaints Commission, which is now the IOPC. They all covered it up. I was left to be hammered. And then eventually I got kicked out of the force.
How long was it before you got kicked out?
Well, from learning the truth about what was going on to what happened, it was only a year or so.
A year. And how long did you spend in total in the force?
6 years.
6 years. And that was
I was glad to be out, let's put it that way.
So you're glad to be out.
But I wouldn't. The mistake I made, I said, they'll have to get rid of me, I'm not going.
Yeah.
So I had all the evidence to show how they act, how they carry on.
Yeah, no.
Oh my God, the things, what I've got in the paperwork.
Yeah, I've been in similar situations with work where, you know, the evidence is, you know, it's just, you know, you're fighting against something that you believe in. You know what I mean? And you're up against it with the hierarchy. So yeah. It's quite difficult. But yeah, so you're glad you're out the forces now. Now, the first, to be honest, this is how it is. I've never heard of your handwriting until about 6 weeks to a month ago. There's all kinds of YouTube videos going on about Shaun Attwood. Yeah. Right? So I'm thinking, Shaun. I know Shaun. A friend of mine, this is what happened was, a friend of mine's phoned me up. He's delighted. Shaun Attwood, he's in touch with me. He wants me to go on his podcast. I went, oh yeah, that'll be good for you as a platform. You know, I had nothing to say about the kid at the time. He was talking about Purple Aki. He'd been next door to him. I said, yeah, great. I'll give you get your views and stuff like that. It'd be good for you. And then he does the podcast, takes a picture with Shaun, posts like it on Twitter and all social media platforms. The next episode, me mate Jeff is getting called a nonce, or there's nonce in his thread, right? And he's going, what the fuck's going on here, Bill? What's this fucking blah blah blah? So I said, look, I'm quite surprised that's I don't know what's going on here. So he said there's something on YouTube called fucking Zaddy Gate about Shaun and his beard, and he wasn't too like sure what it was. And I'd had an interview. I'm like a former guest of Shaun's, and I'd known him for a few years, and my feeling around him was he was quite odd. You know what I mean? From the get go, right? I thought he's not one of us, and he's quite different, and he'd probably be one of my victims, you know, back in the day. This is how I seen it, and what he's, you know, the stories he's saying, but it is what it is. He's saying what it is and how it is, and you know, there's no evidence for me not to believe it, but there's no evidence for me to kind of to believe he's telling the truth either. However, I've looked online and your name's come up, and so I said, hang on a minute, I want to find out what's going on here. So I've sent Shaun a message. I said, what's going on, mate? I said, there's a video online where you've got this young girl called Cali Diamond dressed up as a girl on her knees calling you daddy, right? It's weird, mate, because she's a guest and she's quite vulnerable. I believe she's got autism or some kind of Asperger's, whatever she's got. She's not the full ticket, you know, and that's a fact. You know what I mean? And he sent me a message back saying, Ann Drogyne, our troll. It was a prank, right? So I'm thinking, okay, so it's a prank, but it's the weirdest prank ever, mate. It said, you're a guy that's going into schools, delivering talks about like drugs and prisons and stuff like that to young kids, getting them dressed up in little jumpsuits and doing your little bit with them, right? But you're also having it, setting up a scene where you're snorting fake cocaine, right? Saying it's flour. Now, I'm never sure. I wouldn't do that for no one. You know what I mean? Cash. It looks a bit of a bizarre setup. I'm looking at it online, thinking, what's going on here? Who's uploaded this, and why is it online, and why is it all these comments? And I'm quite like curious. And anyway, so he's telling me it's a troll, it's a prank, and I'm saying, look, I don't believe you, mate. To be fair, I said, you know, I'm quite angered that this is happening, and you know, especially if she's got autism. I've got a brother who's got autism. You know what I mean? He's quite vulnerable, and right, and recently he's been getting bullied, you know, by kids, and I've stood up for him, and over the years he haven't, and I felt guilty about that. So I'm thinking to myself, right, I'm going to reach out and speak to yourself and get your story. So please, you tell me what's going on here with him and you and this Carly, and what's all this Daddy Gate.
The first thing to point out, let's point out one thing about Cali Diamond. Yeah, I believe she has got Asperger's, but from the way she's been acting, the way she's been carrying on, as you'll know from your book, there's different levels of autism. There's high functioning, and there's, because she's, let's put it this way, she's acted in a way which shows she's clued up. She's very, very clued up. But what happened was, I'd been on his show. I'd been a guest on his show. And after I went on the show, everything changed. He used to be talking about prison reform and all that kind of thing. And suddenly he's talking about satanic ritual abuse and all this, and going into graphic details, but it was his facial expressions frightened me. Or disturbed me. I thought, he's enjoying this. I thought he's really getting off on what he's talking about. So to jump forward to the Daddygate thing, I got this video through, or link through.
From him?
No. And this is the whole point. The email was a man's name. Man's first name and a surname. And it had a picture of Carly next to a banister with her backside hanging out. And it was obvious what she was advertising. And it was a link to a website. So I clicked on it. And it was a sex website, and it was Carly's sex website. And when I looked into it, there was all kinds of videos. I didn't look at the videos because you had to be a member to look into it and all this. And I didn't want to see it with names like Making My Pussy Squelch. I didn't really want to see anything like that. But the pictures were enough and the description. So I got onto him and I said, what the hell is going on here? I said, what's this? I said, she's still working. She's a sex worker. And said, you're getting money off people because it's got to GoFundMe.
Who's Shaun as?
Shaun for Carly. Now, this GoFundMe, this was Confrontation itself. Just to give people a background that don't know, Carly, the claim is she was trafficked sexually from when she was 24 years of age. Now, trafficking is a serious thing. It's human slavery, basically. And Shaun had her on there, on his show, to try and prove to people that he didn't only talk about historical cases, he was helping people now. And he told me this before anyone else said, I'm going to show you now I help people now, because that said to
as
him,
an activist, sure.
As an activist.
Has he actually gone on any marches or protests that you know of?
No. What Shaun does, he goes himself an activist, he's not. He goes onto Google. Sorry, because he'll see this, he will, but he does. When he's talking about Epstein, or Epstein, however you call it, he goes Epstein, Maxwell, Google. And then he presents it as if he's coming out with the latest news. He isn't, he's just rehashing what's already out there. He's doing things about Jimmy Savile. He's doing things about VIP paedophiles in Westminster. That was 2014. Savile is well past, but yet he's making out that he's an activist, where yet when I told him what was going on Merseyside, which is happening as way of speaking, there's youths, vulnerable youths who haven't got a home life as such, got no support, are being hooked onto drugs so they can be used by the elites of the city. And the police force are covering it up when it's complained about, bar any investigation. And I said, why don't you come with me? This was after when he was going on. Oh, I do help people. I said, come with me with your film fella, James Esposito, who was doing all these things about Savile and all that. I said, get him to get his camera. I said, come down. I said to Jane Kennedy, the police and crime commissioner, I said, stick the camera in her face and say, can you tell me why you are allowing that force to block an investigation into the covering up of child exploitation, sex exploitation on Merseyside? I said, then you'll be helping. I said, because it's happening now. Didn't want to know. Didn't want to know. So this Carly was supposed to be see, I do help people. But when she went on there, you can tell she's got some kind of condition. That's obvious. But he set up this fund. Well, actually, she set her up. He didn't, but he gets the money. She doesn't. That seems very, very odd. He's the recipient of the money. And it was so she could stop being trafficked, escape the traffickers, and get her son back, her 12-year-old son back. I said, Shaun, I said, if she's being trafficked, I said, what the hell are you doing putting her face out there? I said, traffickers are dangerous people. I said, they wouldn't give a damn about killing someone. I said, and she's out there blowing the gaskets on them. I said, telling you about them, telling everyone about them. I said, she's dead. She's walking dead. Said they'll shut her up.
Mm.
So it didn't make... Do you see what I'm saying, Joe? It doesn't make sense. You wouldn't do that. So I didn't want to say outright, she's not being trafficked, but I thought it. But then she starts making out that she was a victim of Prince Andrew and all that. It just got stupid.
Well, so she claimed to be a victim
Of Prince Andrew, of all people. He wouldn't even touch her, he wouldn't. But then I wanted them to take down... Once I got this website, I thought, now I can get him to stop scamming the public, because it was obviously a scam.
Mm.
He wasn't telling the public that she was still on the game, and it looked damn well like he was pimping her out to me. But what was more alarming, she's got a Facebook page, and the plan was with a Facebook page was to get in touch with other young girls who are being in sex work and being trafficked to help them out. And I thought, wait a minute, if he's pimping her out, which I'm not saying he was, but I'm saying it looked that way, it looked like he was pimping out, taking pictures and videos in his house and putting them on a sex site. It looked like a pimp to me. I thought they might be starting up their own brothel and their own business. And these vulnerable girls come in, then it's, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do... Because no one knew what Cali was going on.
See, I don't even know who Cali is or Cali was. Was she a guest?
She was a guest.
So she was a guest. So it's like, I've got a female guest and I'm interviewing her. She's quite vulnerable. And then I'm
taking advantage of her.
And I'm taking advantage of her. Well,
he sets her up. That's what he did.
Is he actually... I don't know. It's so he's claimed like to be raising money. Is he raising money? I don't know.
What going on here? I looked at the GoFundMe. It's still live now, and it was started up by Carly. But what he'd claimed in his show, talking to her, that a member of one of his supporters or his followers had set her up, concerned about Cali. No, they didn't. She set her up. So that was a lie, the first lie. Yeah. He's the recipient, so he gets the money.
So it goes into his account.
She doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing was, I didn't work this out. It was another YouTuber, a Welsh woman. I can't remember her name. She's really funny, she is. Yeah. And she's been really looking into everything that's happened since it's blown up. But
there's a lot of people looking into it. But what I'm hearing, right, is like trolls. And I had James English on my show. He was my first guest, and we were talking, what is a troll? Is everybody who asks questions... are they going to be a troll?
Yeah.
Or is a troll out to inflame or cause harm to others through envy and jealousy? So, but that's not what you're about, is it? No. And we've had a chat in the car on the way, and we spoke, and I find you quite articulate and quite intelligent enough to understand that, you're not out there to reap vengeance on other people. No. So, do you dispute the fact that you're called a troll by Shaun Attwood?
He can call me what he wants. He did it on with Sonia Poulton on BNT, kept on referring to me. And I tell you now, I'll say it again.
They've got nothing to do with it now, have they?
Well, this is the good thing about BNT. They shot me Mohammed Butt, because Mohammed Butt has spoken to me and reached out to me. Yeah. But good on them that they took that action, because lots and lots of places wouldn't have even been bothered listening. So they actually took action. They were conscientious enough to take action to them, say, no, we're suspending you over this. But it is annoying that on there, I didn't get the right of response or anything, and I'm getting referred to as the troll. Shaun is telling blatant lies about this was a prank set up to bring down paedophiles. That's saying that I'm a paedophile. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, and has he got evidence to support that allegation? No. So... He's claiming you're a troll, you're a paedophile, he's trying to set this to bring you down. He's had you on as a former guest. Now...
Oh, now, by the way, he's saying that me and others are getting paid by paedophiles to bring him down.
Really?
Yeah.
Because his YouTube channel is growing, allegedly.
Well, apparently, I don't know, because I've looked, but he keeps on saying now, well, because I'm bringing these bastards down, the paedophiles. But we've all looked and we can't see one paedophile he's ever brought down.
Yeah.
Not one. No. But apparently we're paid by these paedophiles he's never brought down to bring him down. And it's, we got a camera and forced him to sit with Carly, giving him a blowjob We call them daddy. We forced him to do that. We forced him to.
Is this what he's claiming?
No, but he's making it sound like that.
Yeah.
He was forced into this. We tricked him into it, and it's like he's just making it worse for
who's
himself.
we? Like that's just because if he's pointing at, like there's a YouTuber called Chancer.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of information and his subscriptions are building and his views are getting higher. I've noticed that from the get go. He was starting off on like a few hundred views. Now he's up to like 11k, which is massive, really, isn't it? Really, within a month, to reach that many views after being quite new. And there's a guy called what is the truth?
What is truth?
And I've listened to this. And he's quite articulate. This guy from Edinburgh, by the sounds of it, Chancellor. He's from Scotland, and some areas quite softly spoken. Is it the truth? He's a Yankee.
He's from Florida. I spoke to him the other day.
Yeah, I seen something on YouTube yesterday regarding yourself.
Well, you see, what is truth? He's the real one. That it's sad because he was a huge Shaun Attwood fan.
Yeah.
And he was gutted, and you can tell. He was absolutely gutted to find out. And people get on to me, I supported Shaun Attwood and I can't believe what's coming out by him. And they're really upset because they gave him the benefit of the doubt. And this is the thing that really annoys me and it gets me. There's so many of these people on there claiming, and you'll see people saying about them, say about Shaun, say about other people, oh, they're doing good work, they're exposing all these paedophiles, they're bringing these paedophiles down. No, they're not. No. They're making a hell of a lot of money and careers for themselves out of sensationalising it.
Well, I don't certainly claim to be Mother Teresa, and I've made mistakes. I've done things that I shouldn't have done, and I've went to places that I didn't want to go to. But I remember it was about 6 years ago. Shaun contacted me, regards like my success with this book and this movie coming out. I wanted to do an interview with National Geographic. We'd done it in the office in Hurricane, and he straight away went right into prison rape and a lot of like sexual content in that area. And I was like, whoa, hang on, mate. I was never on the receiving end of anything like that. Although the witness didn't, it was happening. I was quite like, I stand up to anyone. You know what I mean? I'm not afraid of like fighting with anyone around anything. But the reality of it was, I started noticing hashtags, right? And I've noticed something the other day, talking about fucking prison penis mutilation. So he's got a clip and he's put that up, monster cock, blah blah, Billy Moore. So nice. There's a lot of hashtags, and I felt really uncomfortable with the way he was delivering this. So I contacted him, and this was before all this happened, about 18 months ago. And I said, Shaun, I tell you what, mate, do me a favour, right? Remove those videos, right? I don't feel comfortable with the hashtag and the deliverance of them. I think he did remove one or two, but I don't know what he's doing now. He's doing some clips. So I've sensed this kind of uncomfortable feeling around it for years.
He's just got... This is what I was saying the other day to What Is Truth. I said, what it is, like in the entertainment industry, you can't... If you're going to deliver something and get people in on shock value or anything like that, you've got to up the ante. It's got to get more and more. 1 minute a woman showing a silhouette of her breasts is shocking. Then people are bored with that. Then she shows a nipple and eventually ends up full nudity, then sex and all this. It's got to get stronger to keep the audience. Well, that's what Shaun's doing, and that's because he's a businessman. But what is sick, he's using child sex exploitation to get the money in and the clicks. And it's gone progressively. It went from, as I say, him talking to John Wedger about satanic Christian abuse. And John Wedger didn't at the time, given the due, me and John Wedger can't stand each other. But
I don't even know who he is. Who is he?
He's an ex-Met police officer who says that he's a police whistleblower, but no other police whistleblower that I know of will have anything to do with him. And he claims that there's basically Satanists everywhere, and the people, he's exposing these Satanists. So
there's a lot of weirdos. There's loads of weirdos on the planet, basically.
But he's getting money.
Yeah.
This is it. I won't go into too much in labour about him because I've gone on about another people about him. He raises a lot of money. Now, this is an ex-copper, an ex-inspector. And yeah, he raises money. He hasn't. No one knows where the money goes. He won't create a charity. He says he's got a foundation, the John Wedge Foundation. It isn't a foundation. He's telling people, you know, that the victims of satanic ritual abuse, when they're not. He's got vulnerable women, usually women, on his podcast going into graphic detail. Not as bad as Shaun, but graphic detail. And what he's going on about these, to him, everything. An old man in a let's say on a park bench, touching up a young boy, to him that's satanic. Every kind of sexual abuse is satanic. But he's gone into like overdrive causing a satanic panic, or he's trying to.
Satanic panic.
But that's where it starts off with Shaun. And of course, Shaun, being the businessman he is, thought, oh, wait a minute, I can get lots of guests through this fella. And I can get lots of gory details.
Has you got any mates, Shaun? Has you got any friends, you know?
Well, this Wild Man he's got, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Now, Wild Man, funny enough, I got on great with him.
Did you?
I liked Wild Man.
I think I've spoke to him years ago. I've never really... I think he got in touch with me a long time ago via a phone call. I think my number was passed on to him, to Shaun, and he was just talking. But that's the only
Well, Wild Man is this it. When I was interviewed by Shaun, and it's only one time I've ever met him.
Yeah.
Wild Man I relax with straight away. You can tell with Wild Man, I've said, you can tell when someone's seen it all, most probably done it all. Nothing shocks them. And I come walking in with makeup on, getting me bag ready to do me makeup. And Wild Man's just sitting there, yeah. And he just talking, made me relax. But Shaun, I was immediately on edge.
Was you?
And I could see him giving me, making faces. He'd go like this. And I thought, no, that's so unprofessional to a guest, but I just ignored it. And I'm used to getting funny looks anyway. So I thought, oh, you idiots. Yeah. Went in there, most uncomfortable interview I've ever done.
What, with Shaun? And
well, he just...
Where was that? Was that in Material Studios in Liverpool, was it?
Yeah.
Because that's where he's got...
Dive.
Yeah, the dive.
Flea piss. But it was like, he wasn't interviewing me. And he's like this for most of the interview. I'm there. And I'm like...
No eye contact.
He did a bit, but a little bit. But you'll see him when he has a nice female guest on it.
Oh, so there's an agenda.
It's right there. But, so I didn't like him during the interview. I thought, you know, he didn't need it. I had to do all the work. Yeah. And we had a bit of a row about it. I said, look, that's going to be bleeding car crash, that. I said, you didn't even do your job. Yeah. I said, you left me to say everything. So...
That's not unusual for Shaun, because he likes to talk a lot, doesn't he?
Oh, well, you see, I was a freak. And that's what I felt like. I was a freak. And that was another thing. Sorry I said it, because...
But how could... See, if... Like, I know Shaun, but see, I've been in prisons in Thailand, and I've been in shells. I've had to live with transgenders and lazy boys with the full ticket, you know what I mean? And initially, it was like, whoa, it was a bit odd, it was a bit weird, you know what I mean? Because of that, but then you get used to it, and year after year, it normalise it. The experience becomes like it is what it is. So it wouldn't shock me anyway, either way. And Shaun was identifying with his experience to me in a prison in Arizona with some Zena. He was telling me about this big crazy transgender called Zena who was chopping heads off. It sounds hard to believe, to be honest, but sticking them on poles. Yeah. that story, like, I was like, wow, really? Heads getting chopped off in prisons and put on poles? Does that really happen? Maybe it's us, and maybe it's the truth, but I don't know. I kind of find it hard to believe, and I'm not here to, like I said, and I've got to put this down. There's no evidence to say that there is, and there's no evidence to say that it isn't. Yeah. And I could tell you a story, and you either believe it or you don't. That's it. You know, is it right or is it wrong? Yeah, you know, there's a bit of doubt.
Well, think what it's about him. He's because I pulled him at one point. He was going on about his trans. Because I went mad when he had when Sonia Poulton was coming out with all the transphobia. Yeah. Really bad transphobe she is. And as I say, and I'll stress again, I'm not a transgender person. I'm intersex. I'm not transgender.
What does actually intersex mean? Just
In
for the
my
benefit of the
case,
viewers that haven't seen.
intersex, all of that, the old expression was hermaphrodite.
Hermaphrodite.
Now, most people have this strange belief, and that's why it's changed to intersex, that you got both.
Sexes.
So
both
you've
organs.
got both organs. It's not as simple as that. It's a very wide range in being intersex or being a hermaphrodite. In my case, what it meant was that when I was born with male genitalia, but they also discovered, and my parents told me about 3 months old, because I got really ill and bloated up like a balloon, that I have an ovary and a womb, but no vagina or opening. So that officially, because the ovary's there and there's testes there as well, that officially means that I'm what they call a true hermaphrodite, not a proto one, I'm a true one. So I'm considered both, but one sex during puberty will dominate, and it's obvious for me that the male side dominated. But I had to take testosterone as well. If I hadn't taken testosterone, I'd be dead. I wouldn't have lived. I would have been dead at 13. Because that's when puberty hit, and I actually had a period, which of course is nothing to get out.
No. So
most agonising thing. So, but it can be chromosome as well. In other words, you could have a woman. You could be sitting here with an absolute beautiful woman, born that way, nothing to say that she's that there's anything different from her from any other woman.
No.
But her chromosomes are male.
A male.
Because it didn't switch in at the right time. So it can have a wide variety. But what people tend to do, they tend to think, because they see the makeup, that I'm trying to be a trans woman. But I'm on no female hormones. I don't want to have any surgery, reassignment surgery or anything. And so they try and insult me. They'll call me he, or they'll go, instead of saying and they'll go, man. And it's like, oh, get a life. I know I'm male.
Yeah.
I know I'm male. But
it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand,
I like makeup. I like pretty things. I like girly things. And I'm not ashamed of the fact now, but kept it quiet for many, many years.
Was that out of shame or fear? Or
well, thankfully, my family told me, and they were right to tell me, they said, look, people won't, especially in those days. When I found out, I was 13 when I found out. Excuse me. But they said, people won't understand. They said, they'll treat you like a freak. You'll be an oddity. So I did at one point tell someone in Ireland that I was close to. I wouldn't say close to, friendly with. And that taught me a lesson. The bitch went round and started telling everyone how they were jeering me and all this. Now I still won't go over to me mama's family in Ireland because of that. It still hurts me to think. I was really a circus freak. So I determined to keep it quiet, but I was always flamboyant. And in the days of, the gender benders, I was in seventh heaven. I could put my makeup on, I could put whatever. I've never been into wearing dresses funny. I like men's clothes, I just like the women's makeup and jewellery and things.
Yeah, at least you're honest, innit? It's like,
but that's it, but I don't want to be in dresses.
See, this is what it is. It's all or not, and it is what it is. You fucking like throwing makeup on and wearing your own club, and that's, it makes you feel good. It's great, innit? Because like you talked about earlier on about like drug addiction, right? Like you take drugs to change the way you feel, right? Initially you take them to enjoy them, then it becomes a part of your life. You take them because you need to. It's like we live to use and use to live. Very simply, an addict is a man or a woman whose life is controlled by drugs. So there's your choices there are taken away. I know that, right? I've had my choices taken away, and I've been through that experience of withdrawal from heroin, mate, and it was horrendous. It was shit. I'm talking like fucking 12 weeks of like hardcore, can't fucking sleep. You fucking awake, you're tired, your whole body's exhausted, but you can't sleep. And you'd rip someone's windpipe out just for one. You know what I mean? I've been through that stuff. You know what I mean? I've travelled the world. I've experienced a lot. I've seen different cultures. I've adopted different languages. And now, like, if you're fucking comfortable in your own skin and you're happy with what you do, then so be it, mate. No one's here to judge you. And look, let's have a right. The people can just jump in the queue and see what they want. You know what I mean? There's a big long list of people that want to give you a hard time because of the way you look or the way you're different.
It's just you get what it is. I find now it's much better now. That's why it is much better now.
Yeah.
Especially coming out of intersex. But the thing about intersex is thing, Billy, and that's why I talk about it. Being intersex is still an invisible thing, and you'll see people, some heartbreaking stories on YouTube about intersex people, and we're still not understood as what we actually are. Yeah. And there's a thing you'll hear, if you're into LGBTQI,
LGBTQI.
Now it should have an I on the end of it.
What's intersex?
Intersex. But as intersex people say, it's usually left off.
It sounds like a subway, doesn't it?
Yeah,
LGBTQI.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
But it's invisible as well.
Yeah.
And there's when you see people talking about it, they get insults yet, but most people now are more, actually they don't care. And this is the wonderful thing, the vast majority of people online, you get abuse. I do get abuse, but when you add it up to the abuse to the good comments, it's very rare, and it's just other I say, well, they're showing themselves. But when Shaun, as I say, is going on about, transgender and all this, he says that he's got loads of trans friends. I say, oh, I've got loads of trans friends. It's like the racist thing, isn't it? I've got loads of black friends. Yeah. And so I used to say to him, bring your trans friends out with you, because I don't believe you have.
But he dresses up a little bit odd as well, doesn't he? There's a few, he likes a bit of makeup, I believe, and
I don't know whether he wears...
Is that just... I don't know.
I didn't notice any makeup on him. No. I think Shaun is definitely...
Bit flamboyant.
Shaun is definitely straight.
Yeah.
But, as I've said, which is up to him, and he's spoken about it himself, he's got what I'd consider, or most people would consider, an unhealthy idea towards relationships. And I'm not saying it that he hasn't spoken about and bragged about himself. He likes woman-on-woman action. So his ideal woman would be a sex worker like Carly, who goes with other women. Yeah. Because he can watch them. And he said he does that. One of his wives was a porn star.
Who was that?
Oh, I can't remember the name, but he only married her so he could see her getting off with other women. That was the why he married her. And
I've met one of his exes like years ago when he first introduced himself to me. He brought his girlfriends on. I think her name was similar to the other ones.
I know, wasn't it the red-haired one? The very pretty.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember now.
But he's so he doesn't have this. But he had Sonia Poulton on. I went mad about that. I said, look, she's now bleeding transphobe. I said,
no idea who she is. What is she?
She's ex-Sky News. She's actually quite good when she gets her head into something. She looked into the McCanns. Her famous one's Madeleine McCann pulling that case. So she can be good, but
she worked for the news.
She used to
work.
Yeah,
they can't be arsed with people who work for the news. I've been interviewed by fucking news, and I know that they edit a load of shit. You know what I mean?
But she was the one that was paired up with Shaun on BNT.
Yeah.
He was the one she was working with, and I said to him, I said, you know what? But I said to her, I said, you're so lucky that's happened, because I said he'll bring you right down. Because she knows the cut-off point when she talks about child.
Is this the girl with the red hair, Sonia? Is she got red hair? I'm sure. Is it BNT that you were talking about?
Yeah.
I think it was, because I've done a lot of research before, and I think the discussion is prank.
Yeah.
Or is alleged prank.
And that's where I got.
And she was like really calling them out on it. Yeah, it was really.
She wasn't really what she was doing. Because I did a video of taking it down where I take everything that she said. Yeah. Yeah, she does pull them up in parts, but she's going on. And again, she does the thing because she's a blatant bigot. And I've said this to BNT. I said, you've got a blatant transphobe on there. She turned around one part and said about me, calling me the child. They wouldn't call me by my name. And she said, if you're wondering why I'm saying he all the time and not she, other people are referring to this person. This is me talking about as she, and I'm saying he, is because this person is transgender. And as I say, I deal with facts, and that means it's a male, it was the term to use, male human adult, something like that, something daft coming out with. So I refer to him as he. And I'm not even transgender, which is the funny thing. So she cuts into me. She pulls them up. She says some right things about it. But then it's all, oh, Shaun, I love you and I love working with you. And oh, yeah, you've just made a little mistake. I can tell you now, if that had been a trans woman that had done that, with, let's say, a young boy doing that, would she been, oh, it was a prank? No, she wouldn't.
So, tell me, right, and before like we wind down on an end one, do you know do you think that this is going to have an impact on Shaun's career?
Yeah.
All this.
I'll be very, very surprised if he gets back into schools, because you really can't have someone acting like that. He's gone, as I say.
I wouldn't want him teaching my kid.
Well,
if I'd have seen that video, right, and what was behind it and the way it was presented, I think, nah, not sorry, mate. Move on.
Well, he can't hold face, can he? And it's dangerous also, which I've said to him. I said, it's dangerous having you. I said, need these young girls. I said, because you can't, said some of them are vulnerable. And also, he tweeting out one of his moderators. Was tweeting out, oh, thank you, Shaun, for the laptop. And I said to him, do you usually go around buying your moderators brand new laptops, young girls?
Seriously?
And he went silent. So, I see the future of it's turned.
Is he Keiko?
Is he what?
Is he loaded, is he? Shaun?
I don't, he's in his parents. Well, this is the latest thing, isn't
I
it?
know it's not a nonsensical question. I'm just thinking, why would he be doing GoFundMe? Is he struggling? Is he financially being hit in areas? Or is he financially well off? I'm kind of confused as to why he's doing a GoFundMe page. He's the beneficiary. Why would he be the beneficiary when it's in Cali? Has she not got a bank account?
No, what it is, and this is, remember I said about that Welsh lady, I wish I could remember the name of the show. She twigged. She said, wait a minute, Shaun started up like a fund to do his podcast.
Oh yeah, for the new studio he is, yeah.
He only got £45, which is a bit embarrassing.
Yeah.
So he closed it down. Well, he was asking for £5,000. Well, right after that, when he closed that down, the one for Carly opens up, asking for £10,000.
Yeah.
And she said, is it the fact that he was using Carly to get this money because he couldn't get it himself? And he used it as a sob story. But the way it's going with him now with this dark web and Ron Swanson, that's where I think he's going to the point where he's going to undo himself. Because, I'm sorry, you can't. The dark web is best avoided, and especially with Ron Swanson. I'm not the only one that said this about him.
I don't even know who he is. Who is he?
Well, he's got his own, I won't mention the name of the channel, he's got his own channel. I don't know how many times the police have been watching him.
Yeah.
Because he's going into some very, very, very disturbing parts of the web. Very disturbing. But what happens is, when you see him doing it as well, it's like a performance, and I say, it's entertainment to him, and he's like, oh, damn, yeah, oh, yeah, damn, oh, gee, oh,
is he American?
No, he's Scottish, yeah, he's talking like that. But it's all, if you see
hey, damn!
He's trying to be dark glass and all this, he's trying to be, oh, yeah, and here we are, and I'm doing this. Now, again, he's another one, I'm bringing down P12s. No, what's actually happening is, and people are complaining about this, when he says there's this on this site, they're going to look themselves.
Yeah.
Now,
do you think that's an excuse to get in there and look to justify? I mean, in your opinion, is that?
It's getting it. It's like this was said about. Oh, you say this to Shaun. I'd have some of Shaun saying fellows on to me. You know, when they were going on about Satanism, they'd be going, you, are you a Satanist? And all this be saying to me, and say, no, I'm not a pervert that likes hearing about children being ripped open and all this like you do.
No,
and you'd look on it and you'd see his guests. The comments going, oh, I can't wait until you've got Wilfred Wongy's another one that goes on about Satanism. I can't wait. And I think they're getting high off this. But funny enough, only yesterday this happened. And I'm going to do a video of myself about this because it was so telling. I was saying to people, I said, this is becoming, I said, more and more a wank fest for paedophiles and perverts and ghouls to watch. I noticed on Twitter, and this woman tweets out to Shaun, oh, Shaun, can you tell me where Ron's site is on YouTube? Because I find this all so fascinating. We're talking about the torture, murder, death of children filmed and put on the dark web, yet she finds this all so fascinating. What the hell?
It's odd, isn't it?
Well, why would you tweet that out?
No.
Now that proved my point. The way Shaun's going, and you said about, you're talking about the thumbnails, they were getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
And it's all sex and all this. If you look at them, they're sensationalist. It's like baby eaten alive. And all this man has this, put up his cock and all this business. They're absolutely the gore fests. That's not taking child sex exploitation seriously.
I don't even think I could even go down that route, to be honest. It's like yeah.
It's more this. He's got his audience now, and funny enough, I agree with Sonia Polton on this, because he was going, I had 80% approval rate. No, for this so-called prank. Anyway, she said, well, you should be embarrassed about that, Shaun. She said, be embarrassed by it, because she said they shouldn't be giving you an approval rate, because she said that was disgusting what you did. But I don't know what Sonia Polton thinks now, but if you look at the thumbnails he's got up at the moment, grotesque thumbnails, read this, see, it's a gore fest. It's like a Saw film.
And you've researched this as well, haven't you? You've had a good look, so you've got the information, and
well, you have to leave them to it. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. We'll just leave them to it. But and I really appreciate you coming on. Really, absolutely fantastic listening to you. Is there anything you'd like to just finish off on? I say to all my guests, and I said this to the last few. Have you got any pearls of wisdom? Any life experience? Any quick? I know it's a big one, and it's a big ask when you say, right, I've been asked, and then I've got to start to come up with some. Look, don't fucking pick up drugs. It's shit. You know what I mean?
Just pearl of wisdom. I'd say let's see, because my mama was the one. She was the one with all the pearls of wisdom. Oh yeah, I'd say. What did she say about trusting? You can love someone, you can like someone, but it's also sensible never to 100% trust anyone. And that's so true. To me, that's my garden life. You can really, but never trust anyone fully.
Brilliant.
Because we can't.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much, Ann. Hello guys, if you've enjoyed this podcast, then subscribe here. Follow me on all social media platforms here. And my guests are here. Thank you.